My father kept the porch light off every night of his life. He said the dark kept us honest. I never asked honest about what. I am asking now, too late, the way you always ask the important things too late. Write this down in case I stop answering the phone. We grew up in a low house at the end of a gravel road, no neighbors. Just fields, then the tree line, then nothing I trusted. There were no rules on our walls, only one my father lived by. On the longest night of the year, he went outside alone. He would pull on his heavy coat after supper. He would not look at us. He would walk down the road into the dark. He came back near dawn with frost in his beard, hands blue, eyes round. He never said where he went. We learned not to ask. My brother Caleb asked once at 9. Father knelt, held his face, and said one thing. We do not let it in, we carry it out. I didn't understand. Caleb pretended he did. For years I thought it was just a saying, the kind tired men repeat to sound like fathers. Caleb left at 18 and never slept in that house again. But every longest night, without fail, he calls me, just to hear that I'm still alive. I should have asked why he kept calling. Instead, I built a life, a job in town, a wife who left kindly. And Nora, my daughter 6, who reported her dreams at breakfast like the morning news. When my father died, the doctor said stroke, quiet in his sleep. But his last words to me weren't quiet, and they weren't about dying. He gripped my wrist hard enough to bruise. He said, "Don't take her out there." Then he was gone, and I told myself he was confused. I inherited the house. Town rent was killing us. The fields were paid for. And I was tired, so tired of fearing a saying. We moved in October. Nora loved the echo of the empty rooms, ran them sock-footed for hours. I told myself the dread in my chest was only grief. The first weeks were ordinary, too ordinary. The house felt like a held breath, waiting for the moment it would finally have to let go. I kept the porch light on, out of spite maybe, out of grief. The bulb burned a soft yellow over the empty road every single night. In the third week it burned out. I replaced it. By morning it was dark again. I replaced it once more and found the new glass dark and warm to the touch. I stopped replacing it. I told myself it was old wiring. I would not let myself think about what the dark had always been for. The knocking started in December. 3 knocks, a pause, then one. From the back door, the one that opens onto the gravel and the fields. I knew that rhythm, 3 then 1. It was how my father told us he was home. The sound of the door I had grown up safe behind. My heart did something I am ashamed of. It lifted. For one whole second I thought, he's back, and I was already up, already moving toward the sound. I stopped with my hand on the cold latch. Because my father was in the ground, because the porch light was dead, because I was wide awake. I didn't open the door. I stood there until the knocking stopped. The silence after was worse, because silence meant it was still out there, listening back. I called Caleb past midnight. He picked up on the first ring like he'd been sitting by the phone for years. He said, "You heard it." It wasn't a question. I told him everything, the knock, the rhythm, our father's rhythm. He went quiet a long time. Then he said, "Don't ever open that door." I asked him what it was. He said he didn't fully know, only what our father told him the year before he ran. He said, "Listen to me carefully. It can't come inside on its own," Caleb said. "There are only two ways across that threshold. You carry it in yourself or you walk out to it, in or out." He said our family made a bargain before the house even had a number. Something in the fields agreed to stay in the fields. I asked what we gave for that. As long as we paid, he said, it kept its word. I asked again what the payment was. Caleb's voice broke in a way I had never heard from my older brother. He said, "You already know." And I did know. The longest night, the heavy coat, father walking that road alone, coming back hollow. He was never keeping something out there, he was paying it. Not feeding it, Caleb said, buying time. Every year he handed over a piece of himself, his warmth, his sleep, a year off his life, to put off the real price. And the real price, I asked. He said one of us carried out willingly. That's the whole saying, we carry it out. He delayed it your whole childhood, mine too. I had to sit down on the kitchen floor. Decades he had bought us, one cold night at a time. So the thing in the fields would never come asking for a child. And I finally understood my father, all those silent mornings, all that frost. He had been out there negotiating with something old, paying down a debt so his sons could grow up and leave. But he died before the longest night came due. He missed the payment, the first one our family had missed in longer than the house had stood. "Don't take her out there." He spent his last breath on those words, not goodbye, a warning. Because he knew exactly who the debt would come for next. The knocking came back the next night, 3, a pause, 1. I sat on the kitchen floor, my back against the cabinets, and I did not move a muscle. Then it changed. A fourth knock came soft and low to the ground, the height a small hand would reach. The cold came up through the floorboards into my spine. A voice came through the wood, my father's voice exactly, down to every grain of gravel in it. It said, "Let me warm up, son. I'm so cold out here." I pressed both hands over my mouth so I would not answer, because it was him, because it wasn't. Because grief is the one lock that bargain was built to pick. It knew it had found the only key that ever fit me. I almost called back to him. The word Dad rose in my throat and sat there like a swallowed stone. Then the voice said something my father never would. It said, "Bring Nara, she can warm up too. We can all be together again, just open the door." Every warm feeling in me turned to ice. All at once I understood what I was hearing. It was the debt itself, talking through a dead man's mouth. It was asking for the very thing he had died refusing to give. I screamed at it. I told it to take me instead. I said I would walk out right now and carry the payment myself, the way a father is supposed to. The voice laughed gently, the way you laugh at a child who doesn't understand the rules. It said, "You're not the youngest anymore. The debt has a new name." For a moment I couldn't breathe. I understood what it meant, and I understood it had been counting all along. The youngest blood in the house was the price, and the youngest blood slept down the hall. I went to her room. Nora was awake, sitting up, watching the window. She said, "Grandpa keeps knocking. He wants me to come outside and play." I have never been so afraid of a sentence in my life. I knelt by her bed and asked how long he'd been asking. She shrugged. "Since we moved," she said. "He's nice, he's just cold." It had been at her window for months while I slept. Working slow, learning her, waiting for the night the porch light finally went dark for good. I nailed the back door shut. I nailed her window shut. I drove screws until my hands bled and the house stank of hot metal and my own fear. It didn't knock the next night or the next. The silence stretched on into January, and I let myself believe wood and screws had been enough. They never are. Last night I woke to cold air and an open hallway. Nora's door stood wide. Her bed was empty. And the back door I had sealed with my own hands hung open to the fields. There were 2 sets of prints in the frost, small ones leading away from the house. And beside them, larger ones, the long, even stride I would know anywhere, the walk of a man going to pay. I am writing this from the porch. The light is off. I can hear her out there in the dark, laughing, telling someone she isn't cold anymore. I know I should go inside and lock the door. But my coat is already on, and my hand is already on the latch. And it is so quiet now.